right, so today we're going to talk about ancestral karma. What is it, and why is it that you are carrying your ancestors' karma within you? What does it look like, and how can you get rid of it? Okay, so firstly, what is ancestral karma? Let me give you a little bit of a background. I have talked about soul families in past vlogs. If you don't know what it is, soul families, it's when you're not reincarnated yet into a physical body. And it's when we as souls, as energy, pure love, we kind of hang out in the ether together. And what it looks like is, so we all have energetic imprints. Your energetic imprint, like it or not, is your karmic bonds basically to this earth. That's what an imprint is. And those imprints, within those imprints, are learning lessons that still haven't been resolved yet. So that is why your soul keeps coming down and reincarnating, in order to learn the ultimate lesson and to feel one with everything and to feel love and peace. So when you're hanging out in the ether with all these other souls, you know these souls, you know their imprint. That's how you recognize them. You know their energy imprint. And the reason you know their energy imprint is because you've reincarnated on this earth with them. So when you're up there and you're ready to reincarnate, you'd say to the soul, hey, you know what? The biggest lesson that I want to learn on earth this time in this reincarnation is I want to be ultimately, truly happy in a balanced way. I want to be happy in a soulful, balanced way. This is me. So all the other souls that you kind of have reincarnated and are familiar with, you'll say, okay, can you do me a favor? You're going to be my mom and you're going to give me a super hard time. No love, none of that shit. It's going to be hard, lots of fighting, arguing. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so then you come down and onto this earth, and that is your soul contract between each other. It's already decided when you're up there. So what does this have to do with ancestors, ancestral bloodlines? Now, you have also made these contracts with many. You've reincarnated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So you have also made these contracts with other souls. Like, for example, my grandma, my grandfather, they're the ones that taught me spirituality. They're the ones that taught me prayer, and that there's something else that you pray in love with, not pray in fear with. I learned that at a very young age because I lived with them. So they're my ancestors, right? So you come down here, everybody does their part. They start passing away, they die, it's the cycle of life. And as these people pass away, they leave their karmic debt within you. So for example, my grandpa and grandma left me positive karmic debt. It was a positive accumulation. They introduced me to how to pray when I was like 4 years old. They introduced me to the essence of our Gortka, which is a Bible for a lot of people. They introduced me the truth of prayer in love and not in fear. Whereas my family, my mom, my dad, my family that I grew up with, I can't remember when I came back and started living with them again, but basically there was a lot of negativity in our home. There was a lot of love too. Like we were very fortunate, but then again, we weren't. Like, we had these extremes growing up, right? So even though we got to do a lot, like we went to the zoo, I was put in karate, I got to do a lot that other Indian kids, especially being a girl, didn't get to do, which was also a positive karmic debt from my parents to me, because especially my dad, they treated me more like a boy than a girl. Like, they didn't give me that, I didn't get that karma that most of my friends got, where there's restrictions because you're female, especially back when I was growing up and being Indian. So That was positive karmic debt. But negative karmic debt was all of the resentment and the arguments and the notion of like, money is more important. Money is more important than love. Not all the time, but for the most part. And just it was a lot of ego. It was just a lot of ego. And my dad was an alcoholic. Like, so, okay, so now I have that. So that's ancestral. So my grandma and grandpa passed away. My dad's passed away. So now this is ancestral debt, right? Now I'm their granddaughter, his daughter. Now I carry this. So now I I either use the tools that they gave me to get rid of all of the shadows, because the ancestral debt makes the ego stronger. That's why the ego has built over hundreds and thousands of decades, thousands and thousands of decades. So now as the ego is built up real strong within you, and it's up to you to learn the lesson, it was up to me now to get to that happiness, that state of like balanced love, balanced security, abundance, everything. But it was also my duty. I became a mother in between. So now I have this child. I not only have a child, but he is a collector of karmic debt. That's how you have to look at your children. You're either going to give them karmic debt, or you're going to release them and you're going to give them positive accumulation of karma, or you're going to give them a negative and you're going to give them debt. So how I changed things with my son was I chose the path of like what my grandpa and grandma had taught me. I got more into meditation. It was more because I had a death in my life. My husband passed away. It was a huge, obviously, change. That was many years ago, but it really brought me into myself, my soul, my spirituality, what was important. And what I was able to do was I was able to raise my child with awareness, with meditation, with prayer. Not prayer. You don't pray only when you need something or when you're scared. You pray every day. You give gratitude every day. And I taught him there's not enough in the world like I was taught, but I taught him with the notion of there is abundance in the world. The purpose for us is to live in abundance, not to live in debt. That is karma, right? So what did I do? I cut the ties of my karmic debt altogether, because I have now given this world, given Mother Nature, a child that will respect her, that will also access the ether. So he now also has access to, through meditation, the Godhead and his ancestors. And what do ancestors like? They like to be known. I have an ancestral altar up in my meditation room. There's pictures of his grandparents, my grandparents, his dad, my dad. They're all our ancestors, and you give them gratitude. And when you give them gratitude, and this is what he does, when you give them in prayer and in meditation, you remember them. And when you give them gratitude, you also ask God, even though they're souls right now, we don't know if they're reincarnated, but I release their karmic debt. I release their karmic debt for them. That is what I choose to do. They love that. Who doesn't love to be recognized? So in this example now, I have raised a child who is a karma plus accumulator, because not only in meditation is he giving gratitude, but he's also releasing his dad's karmic debt, his grandpa's karmic debt, sheer through his thoughts. He's not saying it out loud. He's telepathically communicating with his ancestors and with the Godhead. And because he's doing it with love and he's not getting anything out of it, it's changing the energy within their imprint. So if you can visualize an imprint, let's just say it's like a barcode, right? And every time there's a line, let's say that's karmic debt. But when a child or you or anybody is actively praying without any, he's not receiving anything, but actively praying to release karmic debt for his ancestors, imagine these lines, they begin to change because they're just energy. So the imprint will begin to change, like, let's say, into a heart. And that's the release of their karmic debt. It begins to release, and it helps them, even if they're already reincarnated, energy, they still can tap in, and they will tap in because it's a feeling. And when their soul connects back to their imprint, the soul knows what's happening. The soul knows everything. The soul has all of your answers. So the soul knows exactly what is happening, and that this person is receiving prayers, and the karmic debt is turning into positive karma. So their life experiences, so like, let's say his dad's reincarnated, so within his life experiences now, he will choose the easier path. He's still going to go through the lessons that he needs to learn, but he will intuitively tap into Armand's prayers, and because of the change of karmic positivity, positive karma onto him, it will help him make the easier choice in life. So I'm going to leave it at that. That's an explanation of what karmic debt is, how ancestral karma is carried on, and how you can break it. Hope that helps. Love you guys. Bye.